You are in the middle of a moment right now. Maybe not this exact second, but you know the one. The house is loud. Someone is crying. Someone else is demanding something. You haven't had a quiet minute to yourself in what feels like days. And somewhere beneath all of that noise, you are doing your absolute best, and it still doesn't feel like enough. That feeling? That is exactly what we are going to talk about today. Before we go any further, there are some resources linked down below in the video description that have already helped thousands of parents completely transform the way they show up for their children. Parents who are where you are right now, exhausted, overwhelmed, running on empty. They found something that actually worked, and right now that same door is open for you. But only if you are ready. Not everyone is. So keep watching and decide for yourself. Now let me tell you what stress actually does to a parent, not the textbook version, the real version. You wake up and before your feet even touch the floor, your brain is already running 1,000 calculations. School lunches, appointments, that thing you forgot to do yesterday, and then before you even make it to the kitchen, someone is already upset about something. And you feel it, that tightness in your chest, that short fuse that wasn't there when you started the day. And then it happens. You raise your voice, or you say something sharp, or you just shut down completely. And then 5 minutes later, you are standing in the kitchen feeling guilty, replaying every second of it, wondering what kind of parent you actually are. Here is what the research is incredibly clear about. Parental stress is one of the single most predictable factors in how a child develops emotionally. Studies consistently show that when a parent is dysregulated, meaning when they are emotionally overwhelmed or reactive, the child's nervous system mirrors it. Children do not learn from what you tell them. They learn from what they feel from you. And that is both the most humbling and the most powerful thing you will ever hear as a parent. But here is the shift that changes everything. Calm is not about being perfect. Calm is not about never getting triggered. Calm is not some spiritual achievement that only certain people are capable of. Calm is a skill. And like every skill, it can be learned, practiced, and eventually built into who you are. Experts in child psychology and nervous system regulation have been saying this for years. The data backs it up. And thousands of parents who were once in complete survival mode are now living proof of it. Let's talk about the specific moments that break most parents. Because understanding the trigger is how you start to change the response. The meltdown. Your child loses it over something that seems completely unreasonable, a snack in the wrong bowl, a sock with a seam, something you said the wrong way, and the volume just rises and rises, and your body starts to respond before your brain even decides anything. Your heart rate goes up, your patience collapses. You go from rational adult to someone you barely recognize in about 30 seconds flat. What most parents don't know is that this is a biology problem, not a parenting failure. When a child melts down, their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles logic and communication, has essentially gone offline. You cannot reason with them right now. You cannot negotiate. And if you are escalating too, both of you are operating from your most primitive brain states. Nothing productive can happen here. The calm parenting approach that actually works starts with one thing: regulating yourself first. Not because you don't care about your child's emotions, but because the fastest way to bring a dysregulated child back to calm is to model calm from your own body. Slow your breathing. Lower your physical position if you can. Drop your voice instead of raising it. Science calls this co-regulation. Parents who use this approach consistently report that the duration and intensity of meltdowns decreases significantly within just a few weeks. Now the transition battles, the morning routine, bedtime, leaving the park. These moments have broken even the most patient parents, because your child is not being manipulative. They are developmentally incapable of switching gears on command. Their brains do not experience time the way yours does. So when you say 5 more minutes and then you mean it and they don't, you are not dealing with defiance. You are dealing with a brain that has no concept of 5 minutes. The shift here is giving transitions a visual anchor, a sensory cue, something concrete that helps their brain understand what is coming. Calm parents who have implemented this consistently say that mornings went from 45-minute battles to manageable routines in under 2 weeks, not because the child changed, because the strategy changed. And then there is the moment that nobody talks about enough, the moment when you are already running on nothing and your child needs something you feel like you genuinely do not have. Maybe you are dealing with your own stress, maybe your mental bandwidth is at 0, and your child needs emotional support that you just don't know how to give right now. And instead of support, they get your overflow, your frustration, your silence. And you feel it afterward like a weight. Here is what experts in attachment and trauma-informed parenting consistently emphasize. Repair is more powerful than perfection. Parents who acknowledge the rupture, who go back to their child after a difficult moment and say something like, "That was hard and I am sorry," those parents are building something extraordinary in their children. Resilience, emotional vocabulary, the ability to reconnect after conflict. This is not damage control. This is advanced parenting. And the children of parents who repair consistently show measurably stronger emotional regulation skills and more secure attachment patterns than children whose parents never had difficult moments, but also never modeled repair. Let's talk about what your life actually looks like when you start applying these strategies consistently. Because this is where the transformation becomes real. You start to notice the trigger before it takes over. You catch the feeling in your chest before it becomes words you can't take back. That gap between trigger and response that once felt like a millisecond starts to widen. And in that gap you make a different choice, not every time, but more often. And then more often after that. Your child starts to feel the shift before they even understand it. The energy in your home changes. The tension that was always just beneath the surface starts to soften. Bedtime doesn't feel like a negotiation. Mornings feel less like a battlefield. You stop dreading the hard moments quite as much because you actually have a way through them now. And then something even more profound happens. Your child starts to mirror back to you what you have been giving them. You see them take a breath before they react. You hear them use words for their feelings instead of explosive behavior. You watch them navigate a frustrating moment with a resilience that takes your breath away. And you realize you did that, not by being perfect, by being intentional. Parents who have committed to this approach report something consistently. They say they feel like they got their relationship with their child back. They describe less guilt at the end of the day, less tension in their body by evening, more connection in the small moments, more presence, more peace. Not because their children became easier, because they became more equipped. That gap between who you are right now and who you want to be as a parent is not as wide as it feels in your hardest moments. It is bridgeable, and the tools to bridge it exist right now. The resources linked in the description below have already helped thousands of parents get there faster, with more clarity and less guesswork. Parents who were skeptical. Parents who had tried other things that didn't work. Parents who almost didn't click. The ones who did, those are the ones who look back now and say they wish they had started sooner. You can be one of those parents. The window is open right now. Don't let today be another day you meant to do something different and didn't. Go check what's available. It might be exactly what your family needs.